They want you to be so dumb, so ignorant, so brainwashed and distracted and controlled.
And it's crazy that also a lot of folks don't understand that a select few from the Federal Reserve get paid 6%.
You people are attracted to buttholes. Like literally a woman is showing you where she's shitting out of. And this is where we're at. Do your research so that you can better yourself. At least have a competent conversation.
It's a safe asset. I mean, like, it's real money. It doesn't matter.
Where this is what's attractive. Like, how low are we gonna get?
Extreme knowledge, oftentimes it will feel like a burden.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome back. This is episode 6.
We made it to 6.
We made it to 6. The grind don't stop.
Literally.
Here we are. Welcome to the Full Notice Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle.
I'm Ramari.
Welcome. Again, subscribe, show love. All the links will be down below. And yeah.
Can I just say something? We have, like, friends. Hit the like button, subscribe. Stop being funny with it. Stop being ghost watchers. Show some support. And let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we have a special guest.
Ooh.
It's all about money today. I mean, we know you, my brother, so if you could kind of just give us your name and what it is that you do.
Oh yeah, not a problem. I appreciate you guys for inviting me, man.
Absolutely.
Really do. So my name is Luiz Garcia, and I deal with precious metals all over 24/7, 365. I would say 367, but
there's not enough. Precious metals. So in case anybody doesn't know, I mean, we know, but what is precious metals?
Well, precious metals is what it is, precious, right? Mm-hmm. So you have gold. Everybody knows what gold is. Silver, platinum, and palladium. Those are the top 4. There's also rhodium, but that's for different purposes. Mm-hmm. And with precious metals, a lot of people don't know is that not only do we have them inside our body, but also it's universally known and is valued across the world. Mm. Right?
Gems.
Hey,
Gems, yo, go ahead.
Hold on. This is interesting. So let me ask this question. Hypothetical. If you said that we have gold, you say we have silver, we have diamonds, we have crystals in our bodies. If we have these gems, we have these metals, I'm just saying, could it be possible to securitize our physical body? Do you think that's a possibility?
Elaborate on that.
Okay. Thank you for asking that question. So, if you were to, let's say, I know my trustee in the back is going to tell me to chill, but I'm going to just say this. If you were to securitize your body, what I mean by that is if you were to, let's say, to put an Allah bond. You know what an Allah bond is? You ever heard of that?
Never heard of it.
Allah bond is arm, leg, arm, head. And you were to bond yourself to something. Let's say you were to give your body to a trust organization. And you were to get a micro and macro mineral test done. So you can find out exactly the quantity of gold and silver that you have in your body. Because we can do that. And if we were to take that and bond that into a trust and then securitize your physical body. I'm asking you like really a rhetorical question because I know you can, but I'm saying it's something that not a lot of people ever even think about. Maybe something, I'm just throwing that out there. You wanted to start it off hard, so
1,000 miles an hour.
We're just going in. We appreciate you for being here. I just got here, We're busy always working and doing things, so I apologize. I'm a little even out of breath. Like I'm excited, and I have a bunch of questions, but I know he has a plan. So go ahead.
I mean, let's follow up with that question. Do you think, right, if you can securitize, I guess
I could see the benefit of both doing it and also a downside to that.
Oh yeah, what would that be?
Wherever humans are, we tend to corrupt anything, and like I do see the benefit because everybody is unique, and we all came from the ground. Like we have the same composition as, but
as nature.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like if there was any doubt in the past,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of ways I could answer that. But I definitely hypothetically
Yeah,
I
we
could see
could
it.
we could do. I mean, we could get further deep into that
And
in a more private setting, but there. I mean, that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a thing that bankers, especially private bankers, they play those games. Like that is an actual play.
and I don't think people really know that we have that in our bodies. I mean, and going back to what you were saying, is that something that you can like tangibly see and like
Well, there you have like elements of you have like monatomic gold in your blood, and you have crystallines in your for
okay.
you have like for example you have copper and carbon to conduct electricity. Those are the only two elements that actually conduct electricity. So
Yeah.
those elements you'd find that in your brain. For
Right,
example, a
right.
place where you would need that in your heart. Your
Yeah.
heart has a lot of gold for you have a vagus system, which is
Mhm.
like a part of your body. It connects like your brainstem to your heart,
Right.
and there's a lot of gold in that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's an ancient proverbs that says, I don't know if you heard it, Luis, as within, so without.
Yeah.
You heard that? What do you think about that? You think it reflects, I guess, what we're talking about?
Well, what I would say is there's a lot of poor people who have a heart of gold. So, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how as within so without. I think that there are stories of like the Anunnaki. You ever heard of
I have.
the Anunnaki here are here to mine gold and things like that. That's actually something I was meditating on yesterday when I was doing some studying. Well, when I was meditating really like
Well-
before I went to sleep, I was just
I do want to add to what you said about people having heart of gold.
Mhm.
I don't know where I read this, but the quote was, "Don't be so poor, all you have is money."
oof.
Mm.
Yeah,
Gems.
that is golden.
And also, I like to poke fun with my family. I do tell them that, some of you guys are greedy and like to hide behind being poor. You just don't have the money so people can see the real you.
Right. Money doesn't make you; it just extenuates who
What
you
you really
really
are.
are. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's really crazy, man. I know a lot of people who are like that. Who
Wait.
they don't give nothing.
Yeah. Luis, can you just give us a brief story of how you got into like precious metals?
Oh yeah, and it's
Yeah, who are you, man?
well, online, I'm known as Uncle B, right? And my hashtag is 2_ Bullionaire. And how I started in precious metals, right? I was 10 years old. All right, 10 years old, minding my business. I was actually at a family party at my uncle's house, and I saw change on the counter. And to me, I'm like, looking the other way, see if some, grab a few. But then I noticed in one of the quarters, it had Delaware on it with a guy on a horse. And then I looked at it and I'm thinking, well, that's one of the 50 states. And then automatically I assumed they're going to make all 50. And then throughout the months, I started to see New Jersey, Connecticut, and I'm over here like, I didn't know anything because nobody in my family has a background on precious metals. Nobody. Even though just 100 years, they were dealing with precious metals on a daily basis,
Right, it's crazy.
But I remember really clearly when one Saturday, my father took me to work and I saw that it was a coin shop across the street from him. And we went to the coin shop, and I honestly was thrown away ecstatic that there was people just like me. And I ran into this accidentally. And if you were to ask people that deal with coin collecting in general, everybody picked that hobby. And a lot of times, 90% of the time, they don't have anybody related that started. Like only a few have like a father that passed it down.
Like
which
like generational.
And I do remember my father being a little nervous going to the coin shops because for the most part, is usually older white men.
Yes.
He knew I was doing the right thing, but I felt like he was also intimidated for me. And throughout the years, I started to collect, and then in 2013, I noticed that on Instagram, there was people that like to post pictures of what they have. And granted, if you're online, a lot of folks don't want to show their face, especially with gold. But that's over the years, that has actually kind of gone away. People post anything now,
Right.
and I'm glad. But also at the same time, I do talk about security, and if you're going to show the world, expect that could be a consequence too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a downfall.
Absolutely. A lot of people, especially nowadays, Those who are in the know realize that money has no actual value aside from the intrinsic value you give to it and you ascribe. So a dollar is literally just a note. So it has no value in itself. It's with the real value, the real tangible asset, what could actually back a dollar are the things that people want to say, like, I'll give you $1 for that. It's not the dollar that has the value, that's just the measure of exchange. The real value is that thing, which back in the day, prior to 1933, the dollar was actually backed by gold and silver. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I want to say it's completely, Nixon took us off the gold standard in 71, which was partially redeemable.
Yeah.
Right. What the bill is, right? This Federal Reserve note, which I find disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It is disgusting. It's filthy lucre.
It is. And with the Federal Reserve note, you can't go to the bank and slap it over the counter and tell them I want my Morgan dollar or my peace dollar. Which in the 1792, when the Coin Act was actually, the Coin Act was established, you could go like $1 equal 0.715 of silver, and you were able to. People trust the dollar because it's backed by precious metals, and every country in the world has started either backed by precious metals or partially backed by precious metals, right? But then slowly it starts to chip your purchasing power. That's one of the things I hate about the Federal Reserve.
Really?
I really do. And dollar has lost over 97% of its purchasing power, especially during these days. A lot of folks think things are getting more expensive, which they are, but it doesn't mean that the value is going up. It just means the value of your dollar is going down, meaning you have to work more for less. Now, in 1964, the last year U.S. coinage had 90% silver, right? The minimum wage was about $1.25. And 90% silver, that's over $17 today.
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage. That's why back then, people, when they bought a home, they had the cash for it.
Right.
Like a brand new home was like literally just $17,000.
Yeah.
But $17,000 in 90%, you're looking like around $200,000, right?
Of worth.
Yes.
It was equivalent to today's $200,000.
And, basically, the Federal Reserve, what it is just a ghost of money. Because, with money, the two things that are worth more is your time and your freedom. That's what, and then money is just a tool to exchange that.
Right.
And like the trust that people have with the Federal Reserve is, just in currency in general, is because a lot of folks know that it bought them something the day before, so they have the confidence. Basically, that's what money is.
That people will accept it as a medium of exchange.
But unlike in Germany, people, there's stories where people were literally getting robbed. What do you call those? The wheelbarrow or
Wagons? Those wagons?
like the ones where you just put dirt.
Yeah.
People were going to supermarkets with those, but they weren't robbing them for the cash. They were robbing them because that act was actually worth more than the money on top.
There's and that is nuts.
Yeah, because they use it as transportation, right?
There's a saying that, or prophecy or whatever, that there's one day going to be a day where like people will see $100 on the bill and the value will be so little that they'll just walk right over and pick up like whatever, any other thing that may be of more value. But $100 for people today is like, wow, you got $100. Back then, maybe in the future, $100 may be nothing. There are countries who have like $1,000 bills. So I wonder, when you think like, I wonder how that they're printing out $1,000 bills. Well, it's because the value of their currency is that low.
I've been to Mexico, and when I went there, a few summers back, my uncle showed me pesos that were like that, like $1,000, 1,000 pesos, and I was like, how? I've never seen this.
Right.
But I guess it's discontinued now, right?
So, but to add to that, I just had a brain fart.
Well, to keep things going, do you know the history of like the dollar? Would you be able to go in on that a little bit? And I'd like to add to whatever you said.
So like the Coinage Act was actually written in 1792. And it's funny, like I used to work at a coin shop. Now I'm my own. And a lot of folks will call in about the 1776 quarter or dollar.
Yeah.
I'm like, the country was broke at that
It was
time.
it was already bankrupt.
But why? Why would they call in for that?
Oh, because like in 1976, they did the bicentennial coins set. You have the quarter, the half, and the dollar. And they see the 1776 to 1976. And one of the customers, she was with, a friend of the shop. She comes in, she's like, I have a half dollar from 1776. How much is it worth? I looked at it. John F. Kennedy wasn't even born in 1776.
So it's,
But in the early days, at the founding of the country, a lot of folks don't know that the early dollars, they were actually they used George Washington's wife's silverware to create those dollars.
What?
That's how poor this country was. Yeah, a lot of countries, and even south from the border, they helped the colonists at the time to get things started because this country was broke in the beginning.
oh yeah. I mean, well, I'd like to add a few things. One, the history of the word dollar. It actually comes from the word doll, right? And you know that the first business that was created was prostitution. That was actually the first business. And what they would say is they would say, go get that woman dolled up. So a dollar was considered a woman who was a sex slave. So they would say, is she dolled up? Yeah, then she's a dollar. That was the inclination. And so a dollar is a female sex slave, and a buck used to be a man. Well, a buck is a horse. That's a real strong horse, like a bull or something like that, right? And what they said was, oh, get me that buck. So they would pair a dollar with a buck, and a buck was like the strong black guy who was the big black slave to come and impregnate the woman for genetic purposes. They wanted to just create the best slave. So they would say, pass me the buck, which was to pass the man, or pass the slave owner, the strongest man, to impregnate the biggest hoe. Yeah.
That's crazy. And look how people how they're glorifying the dollar and the buck.
It's degenerative, and it's fiat. And even if when people actually go look into the word fiat, it's something that is negative. Like all of it, it's no good.
And it's interesting that a lot of folks don't understand how math works. And for example, since the founding of the country up until 2010, about $825 billion were created. 200 years.
Yeah.
In the last 13, we've printed trillions.
Trillions of that.
So it's a math problem. It has nothing to do with politics, no matter however they try to slice it, right? And even in the beginning days of COVID, when I heard about the stimulus checks, I was against it. People were getting at me from all angles, right? Saying how can you say that 1,200 is going to help? I'm like, it is today, but you're literally shooting yourself in the foot and for 2 generations. So at what cost?
Yeah.
But I understand that 1,200 did help people today when they got it. And I do have some family members and friends that they hate the 1%, right?
Hate, wow.
They literally hate the 1%.
A lot of people despise them.
They despise them, and just feel disgust, right? But also at the same time, when they got the stimulus check, they gave it right back to them. They went to Prada, they went to Louis Vuitton, all the stores. You saw the lines.
Yeah.
So
it's embarrassing.
So
really.
it was they got what they wanted, but they convinced you that they were helping you.
Do you think people's core values are messed up?
Yes.
Well, let me add to what you just said real quick. There is a I dabble in stocks, and one of the stocks that didn't do at all, they didn't go down at all, were stocks that involved commercial properties that had luxury brands on those commercial properties. So we're looking at small malls that would harbor Louis Vuitton thing, not just the big malls. We're talking about the small, malls in little wealthy areas that have these brands, right? Their stock ticker symbols on average went up about 40% during the COVID situation, or the beer bug, whatever, I don't know. If we can say it now,
Buzzwords.
yeah. But during that time, it pretty much, it's like, it just goes to show you that it's all on your knowledge of the economy and how you handle your money and how you view it and how you move it, how you circulate your currency. Because it's like, some people, when the majority of the world is going broke, there's a small group of men who are just making a ridiculous amount of money, and this is like historical. It's always the same thing, and begs the question: how do you prevent that? Well, someone who knows about the economy, someone who is, you study this. How would you personally? What would you say? Like, how would you advise someone to to change that cycle?
Well, for one, I want to add to that wealth is never destroyed; it's just transferred.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and during the days of COVID, March 16th or 17th was when everybody was realizing, okay, April, we're going to have everything shut down, right? We don't know for how long. They told us 2 weeks. I didn't believe that. Because one, Americans are going to do whatever they want, right? But in the early days of COVID, I realized that people are going to be home. They're going to get lazy. They want stuff for cheap, right? So immediately I bought McDonald's stocks, Coke stocks, and I forgot to get Zoom.
Zoom
So
are crazy.
once you know where I guess you could say the herd is going,
Yeah.
you can know where the money is. Okay, like on the energy, you can never go wrong with energy, right? Like, people have their different opinions about the Russia stuff right now, like Russia and Ukraine. I was trying to buy Russia stocks, okay,
Yeah.
because I knew it was gonna go up, right? One of my buddies, he did that. However, he couldn't cash because he was in the States. He had to use his, I hate to say his name, but he used his address in Europe in order to liquidate that, because they didn't want Americans get involved, But for people that know nothing, the best investment you could do is your education. Learn, right, where the money is. I learned where the money is, where the most noise is made. And oftentimes, whenever a government says they have the solution, it's because they created the problem, right? In the early days of COVID, I actually learned a few things. One of them being is that doesn't matter the situation, people will always be lazy, and somebody's going to pay for that, and it's usually the lazy people, right? And with the fast food industry, right, one of the things I didn't like was the most popular brands made it. Carl's Jr., bam, gone. I'm here like, man, I like my burger. Literally in 2 months after COVID locked out. And depending on what sector you're trying to be, I'm big on energy. I'm big on, I hate to say it, but also oil. But because that's where that's where the money is at the moment. Right. I do believe, just to add, there's a good way to go green, but it's kind of like a system that's addictive.
You gotta wean them off.
Yeah, it's like if you were a smoker and you want to do overnight, you're gonna get a withdrawal.
Yeah, you're gonna go through withdrawals. You gotta slow, get the patch, chill, go slowly. Yeah.
Because like whenever I hear political stories on the news, right? For example, I want to add on the energy sector. One party in particular in the States, right? They're for green energy, but because they already have stocks bought in green energy. And Republicans, for the most part, have been oil, and that's where the money is, right? That's old money. The thing I have with energy right now is that if we were to go green, China would literally obliterate everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, they've been going green for a while.
And also the military. I check out every country's military, every country's financial statements. There's some countries that are doing better for their own people than they are in the global market. Like, for example, the continent of Africa. The saddest thing is it's the really rich in minerals and owns none.
None. They have no mineral rights.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. You had said something that I think it just triggered, like, oh my God, you said financing statement. Would you be able to explain to the audience what a financing statement is and why you would look at a financing statement?
For example, if you were to pick a country, Germany, it's wealthy, right? Germany is literally, I guess it's putting everybody's weight. It's the richest country. Look at the middle class. What's the medium income? Look at what that country has to offer, because a country that doesn't produce is going bankrupt.
Yep.
Okay. the United States, for the most part, was a country that did produce, but now one of the downsides of it is that we're just consuming.
Yeah.
And like one of the rhetorics I did like about the previous administration is that we need to make stuff here
Yep.
for our local economy, right?
Yep.
You know,
Industrialize the country back and bring back the businesses so
Bring
that they
back jobs here.
yeah, give them, incentivize them so that they can come back and produce, give jobs, create more debt, so forth and so on.
and also to see if the country is in debt and how much, right? And if they depend on their citizens or government to bail them out via the U.S. dollar, for example. Like El Salvador, it uses the U.S. dollar. Period. They were trying to go with Bitcoin, but for now they're not doing that great. It's a difficult to dissect, but for people that don't understand how a country is run, a country is basically a corporation in my eyes.
It is 100% a corporation according to Title 26. But
And the voter is just a stockholder. Right? We're led to believe that we do have a saying, but at the end, the politicians are going to do whatever they want, right? Of course, they pay consequences. Some of them by the voting, whatever. However, this country is somewhat more stable than other countries, so I would just invest here in the States for now. Okay, like
you would invest in the States.
there's people. A lot of my friends, they invest in Canada. A lot of them mining stocks, all that, minerals. It's unfortunate that the continent of Africa, it really is, because the Chinese are going over there.
They've taken over Africa.
And it's unfortunate. It's also like the country of Venezuela, right? They're rich in oil, rich in gold, but they do not have, I guess, the ability. They don't want to get it off the ground.
Let me say this with regards to Africa, because I was at the United Nations. I've been in the IMF meetings. I've had many conversations about this topic, and it literally breaks my heart. You have men who call them presidents if you want. Some are presidents, some are kings, and they have absolutely no idea how money works. And the problem with that is that you have people who have advisors who also don't have any idea how money works, because you have two sides in government. You have your public side of government, which is everything that people know. And then you have a private side of government, which is a whole nother world. It's almost it's like two whole different systems of governance, one of which is more the people is actually doing things. The other is more policy and procedure and things like administration. That's the public side. On the private side, I don't want to get too deep into it, but on the private side, you have a very small group of men who understand how money is created. And then you have that concentrated group of men running specific entities that govern how countries can securitize loans and how they manage their credit and how they do business on an international scale. And that trickles down to the public. So you have a group of international bankers who Ford spoke about. He has a book about international bankers. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know.
Ford, meaning Henry Ford?
Henry Ford, one of the U.S. presidents. I'm trying to think if it was Ford or... Yeah, it was Ford. He wrote like a book on that. The international... I'm not gonna get too deep into it. People could research it, but it's, and whether it's right or wrong, whether it may be based in fact or not, if people do the research on not pointing the fingers at the people who are in positions, but the system and how it operates, you'd find that a lack of education it's like there is a vested interest in those who know to keep those who don't know how the private sector actually works. You understand? Like what is the purpose for a courthouse? And how does that tie into a banking system? Nobody asks those questions because they don't know to ask those questions. They don't have an idea of how, why is another question to ask, why would the court and the treasurer of your county be in the same building. You know, why would that be? And it's things like that. Not every county is the same. For the majority of counties, their main government building is like that. You gotta educate people on like how it's like at one point there was colonial script.
Yeah.
You know about colonial script, right? So if these estates, because to get really technical in with the law, these estates had the ability to issue out their own currency. Families were able to issue out their own currency. So what happened to that, and why are we not?
That's a hot question.
And
why are we not getting back to that?
And even before the Federal Reserve, there was actually local banks that did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
that's right. There was.
They called them
they're
national notes, I think.
They're not interim banks.
We'll put it.
Yeah.
We'll put it up.
You're right. There are these banks that this is what they did. They actually went out and they issued out their own currency. Small town banks. People believed in those banks. Believed in the credit of that bank and their owners, and they did their commerce and everything worked out.
You know, until they, depending on the bank or whoever ran it, they couldn't sustain it, and they went bankrupt.
Well, then let me ask this, and this is more for the audience than anything else. Do you know how banks work for the most part?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. All right, if we were to create a bank, we create this bank. No money is in the world. We go to Mars, and we just create this bank. The first thing we do is we're gonna say, okay, well, we're gonna print out $100, and we're gonna use this $100 to create the currency. I'm gonna print it out. I'm gonna give you the $100. You go out there and you circulate it. Let's exchange it for commodities. But you got to give me $103 back. How are you gonna give me $3 back when I only produced $100? Because that's what interest is. It's like the bank is gonna produce $100. They're gonna give you that loan, $100,000 loan, but they want you to give them back 100 and.
Weren't you talking about them boys in the beginning
Yeah.
before we started this?
Oh God, you guys are talking about them boys?
Well,
Okay, so the reason I find the Federal Reserve disgusting, right, is because the Treasury doesn't have the authority to print its own money, cash,
Yeah.
right? So they have to ask the feds first.
Why is that?
I want to ask Kennedy that question. I think that's the reason he got assassinated.
Well, I mean,
He did the executive order 11110 to where it was going to go ahead and give the Treasury the power back.
well, all you got to do the House Joint Resolution 192. It already gave the Treasury the power to do that back. The Treasury's never not had the power to do that back. He wasn't assassinated because of that. We could speak about that in private, off air. I could give you some like perspective as to what I know with regards to that, but the Treasury Department. How do I say this? The Treasury Department is more holier than thou. They don't do nothing wrong. The Treasury Department does its job. The question, who we got to really question, is the Federal Reserve's.
Open Market Commission.
No, just because at the end, like we can go up the ranks. We can talk about the Depository Trust Clearing Company and what they're doing, right? Clearing all these securities that they know that. I'm not trying to really get involved in talk about that right now, but what we should be doing is asking the Federal Reserve, why is it that you're not educating people beyond I just posted it right here on my website? You guys are so caught up with trying to make sure that everyone knows about gender this and gender that, but why don't you teach the people about how it works? I mean, it's beneficial for everyone, really. At least those who are interested enough in really going and seeking the information. Maybe don't give it to everybody because you got some dishonorable people, obviously. So that's fine, okay. But you do have your good people that deserve a just life. Not everyone is a criminal,
right?
But you're forcing people to become criminals to get by so that they can. I'm not justifying it. This is the reality of things. You have a lot of crime where there's a lot of poverty. It's the correlation. If you want to eradicate the poverty, you got to teach people how to be able to get money. You know what I mean? And or I shouldn't say get money,
Even in
create money.
even in the school systems, like why is it that that's not like a main course? Why is that not a main subject that they
I'll tell you.
you would think, if that's something that we operate on the daily.
There's the argument of, like if you go to rural America and you just speak to like random European man, I don't use terms like white, black, like there's no such thing. If you go to speak to these colonists, not all, because I'm just being realistic with it. People from other places that came to our land and created colonies here. You ask them, oh well, how come they gave you guys land and land was taken, but there was a Homestead Act that was passed and you guys just got land? What happened to our land? Where's our fair share? Oh, and they'll give you a whole bunch of runaround now. From an educated perspective, I know why they can't give our people land. I literally know why, and I agree. And it's not with character, it has to do with knowledge. We don't have the knowledge. We don't even have a nationality. You understand? So it's like, I understand why we don't have allodial titles in this country or in the United States, why the United States doesn't have allodial titles. However, why are you not giving the restitution, teaching the people, not money? We don't want Federal Reserves at this point. You don't need that. You need to teach people about the money, how to create the money, how to utilize it.
How to fish.
How to fish. And not in their system. Because yes, it's fine. We could fish in your system if you want us to fish in your system. But obviously, it's your system and you guys have your culture and you have, but man, I just get pissed.
No, like
It's crazy.
like I guess I'm Mexican, right? And everybody knows how the Aztecs met the Spaniards per se, right? And some of my family, right? They talk about, I don't want to say it's similar, but they want to talk about how in Mexico the Spaniards just came and took whatever they wanted, right? I want to tell my cousin when she was expressing her opinion, I'm like, we came because of what they did, right? And I wanted to poke fun at her, and because that's how me and her get along. I don't see you giving up your home for the cause either.
Yeah.
So.
But
like,
should she?
No.
Why?
Because everybody alive today, we had nothing to do with what happened in the past, as horrible as it is, right?
Okay. I want to give you some pushback.
Okay.
Go ahead. So if we were to create a house, I build a house with my own bare hands, and I move into that house. I live in that house, and you say, hey, I want to, I'm struggling right now. If you could just take me, and I'm your boy. Sure, man, come through. And I say, see that room right there? That's your room. I have a 3-bedroom house. That room right there is our guest room. That's all yours, man. Enjoy. Stay for as long as you want. Get yourself on your feet and move on. A week passes. You went from having that room, now you're sleeping on the couch. All right. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. He's sleeping on the couch now. 3 months pass. Now you're invading the kitchen. Another 4 months pass. Now you're taking over the entire first floor. Then you're going into my room and you kick me out my own room and say, hey man, you want to come in the room? You got to pay me a tax. I'm like, what the hell? This is my house. Now you kick me out my house entirely, and now you take over my house. 50 years pass, I die. Another 50 years, my children, they die. 100 years pass, generations pass, and your children now have that house. And here I am, and I do my research, and I find out that my great-great-grandfather built that house. The title was taken from him. And I'm just, do I have the right to go back and claim what is mine? Legally, like lawfully, I do, because that's my house. But we want to circumvent that and say, oh, well, it happened in the past. No, it doesn't matter. If I go to your house right now, and in 50 years, your daughter comes and she's like, hey, this is my dad's house. I can't say, oh, well, no, I've been paying the mortgage on it. I've been paying the taxes on it. I've been fixing. I don't care about that. It's not my problem. You got to figure that out. That's on you. You stole that. So where's the equity in that scenario? Yeah, I mean, hey, you're going to be homeless. Well, guess what? It's either me or you. If I'm homeless, I've been homeless for the last 400 years. Now it's time that you may be homeless. We don't want to see you homeless. But your ancestors came over here and took over our land. Now what are we going to do? So the way that the law works is we're letting it go. But there's no solution for the people beside continuing to create a lower class of people so that they can continue to be in a servitude position, not in a position of empowering themselves as a people. They play identity politics. Like, all these different things is just to suppress a group of people that once they find out that, oh, all these people are in our houses, there has to be a change. And if they have the knowledge to change that, then, how do they go about it? In my opinion, is go about it the legal way. But there are people who, they don't think like that. They're thinking, oh, this is my property, well, I'm going to go and burn everything down. Like, that's not the way to do it, But there has to be an awakening where the one who's in the house can say, you know what? Maybe I have been benefiting off of living in this house, and I may not be able to give this house up right now. We're just like, my whole family's here, my children, blah, blah, blah. But there may be something I could petition our government to do to help out with the situation that these people are facing over here. That's just a solution that I think. But I digress.
No, yeah, like with the, for example, one of the things I don't like about courts is that you could be telling the truth, but in court is where you can prove, right? And of course, in the past, everybody literally got rid of documents, hiding their sin, basically, right?
Yeah.
So
much easier to do also back then.
Yeah, and that's why also I'm pro-gun. Like, I'm pro-gun. Like,
Us too.
Like, everybody.
You mean you're pro the Second Amendment?
Yeah, everybody. Like, in the past, and I could speak about the Mexican, I guess Mexico in general. The reason they got their independence was with everybody with firearms, right? Now you go to Mexico, there's only two two bodies that have them. The bad people, then the people know that are bad,
And law enforcement.
that also are not as nice, right?
Yeah.
So now the people are like, who do we trust?
Yeah, they have nothing to defend themselves with. Yeah, a lot of third world countries are in that predicament right now, actually.
And it's in this country, right? I don't know if you know why gun control was imposed in the beginning.
Well, did it have to do with alcohol? Okay, prohibition. All right, then go ahead.
Because like after the Emancipation?
The Emancipation Proclamation.
I want to say those here in this country feared a retaliation. So that's why they were like, you know what, gun control.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they're pushing this gun control now?
Yeah, because I believe that they know they're going to do something bad to where the people are going to push back. But at this point, this country has so many guns, they could push whatever law they want.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to. But this is what I would advocate for. Everyone has the right to bear arms. Everyone does not have the right to have a gun. A firearm and a gun are two different things. A gun has to be registered with the state. And a firearm, even though this is like deep law. Like, I'm not telling people, think this is sweet. Like, you would have to have, like, you have the right to create your own firearm. You can literally go get the iron, mold it, get the gunpowder. If you could create your own weapons, it's not illegal. You could do that. But to walk around with that, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want people to walk around with homemade guns.
Because one, you don't know their efficiency.
And not only that, but you don't know if those people's sanity is there. Like, why would you want to have guns? I'm not saying I am pro Second Amendment. I think I'm pro the Constitution, period. Everything that's in the Constitution, I'm all for all of it. there are things that people who don't like guns need to understand about the benefits of having guns, because I think that's where the problem lies. It's those who don't like guns that have a problem with guns. The people who like guns, you don't see people going around like just killing people.
Right.
It's not like nature to go around and just shoot, and a lot of people have guns. So if you really do the math, it's like a very small percentage of people are really out there committing gun crimes, like literally.
And I made a post a few years ago because in 2016 election, right, that was basically a hot topic, because you had one candidate going for gun control extreme, and the other one a little bit more lenient and just like let the states decide, right? Yeah. And for me, the ability to protect yourself is a God-given right. Mm-hmm. Okay, I do agree also that if you are impaired and you're not all there, we should be able to ask a few questions, right? But there's a gray area with that because, like the red flag, for example, anybody that didn't like you could just say you were demon fit, and that was like everybody. But before I forget, I made a post saying it was basically aimed at the other aisle. If we were the problem, the lawful citizen with millions of guns and billions of ammunition, right? If we were a problem, you would know it.
Yeah.
And it's usually somebody that got mad at their ex or somebody with a hatred in their heart, really. Yeah. Like you see the church shootings, for example, right? I'm from Texas. Everybody carries, okay? Yeah. I had rifles in my car, 1911 in the middle. I got pulled over at night, no problem, Although I would say this for the audience, if you get pulled over at night, turn the light on, period. Yeah. Hands on the wheel, period.
Yeah, keep everyone safe. Do things in such a way that everyone's going to be okay. Everyone's going to feel safe. Like, don't be an idiot.
Right, because I also hate those guys that go like, I know my rights. I'm like, okay, dude, you're
already messing up.
Like, you need to de-escalate.
No you don't have rights.
Like for me, when I'm with an officer, one, he doesn't know you, I don't know him, so it's already awkward. And for them to stop you, probably probable cause or whatever. Some maybe pricks. I'm sorry. But you always have to de-escalate. And I've seen cases where the officer was out of line, but I like to remind people in the comment section, you don't win on the street, you win in court. And you have to be alive to show up in court. And if I was in that situation, as painful as it could be, right? And if I live, I'll see court. And that's how you win, Because it's, I've been pulled over with my firearm 4 times at night, right? I'm always going like 10 above the speed limit. I'm like, that one cop is always just there.
He's just waiting. He's like, I know he's coming through. Let me get him.
That speedometer.
It's like I'm over here like, But anyways, he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, yeah, I was going a little bit. I'm trying to go to the restroom. He's like, all right. But before when you see the lights, right? I make sure I park, turn the lights on. At Texas, you have a concealed carry license, right? And your driver's license. I put them in the dash, both hands on the wheel. And officers, immediately when they see a CHL, they know you're not one of the bad guys. Yeah. Right? That's why I advocate for everybody to get in whatever state they're in, if you can, get a concealed permit for a firearm, get it.
Always have that.
Always.
They just to prove that here.
Yeah, one, prove that, that you're trying to do things right.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you could get pulled over with a firearm in Texas and you don't need a license, right? But it has that extra layer that you went out of your way to make sure that you're trying to do things right, right? Of course, but it's nice to have a little concealed carry license.
Yeah.
But in Texas, the gun culture, we do respect life, and not as trigger happy as people like to paint Texas as. Okay,
like statistics prove that.
Like there's people in church that pack, right? Like in the past, I have in Texas, not because I didn't trust, but because I know there's somebody out there that would basically see the sheep or the herd and just go at it, right?
Wolves, just like today's gonna be the day I'm done with life. Like I'm just gonna go. That's it.
And it's funny, for me in Texas, whenever I didn't, I'm like, man, it's gonna happen today.
You wanna know something? Like the proclivity of people having these kind of ideas is really like it's based on a multitude of factors. It's like society is, and honestly speaking, it's usually men who, and usually men, certain crimes with guns happen, with specific kinds of groups of people. Like, I know Chicago has a specific demographic of men who are shooting themselves. It's like, gang rivalry things that's going on there. Then you have like rural America, or like, let's say, Kansas area, where you just have like school shootings, and just think like, like the one kid who's just like loses his mind and just starts shooting everybody, right? And it's just like, you can't just expect that society as a whole gets better from this unless you fix all the, like, not all, but you try to fix majority of the problems, right? Like, what causes the problems? A lot of times, depression in men come from not feeling like they have enough value as human beings. So a lot of men, what they tend to do is they get into a depression, they feel hopeless, they get into they might start drinking, might start looking on Instagram and seeing other people live a life that for them is unattainable, or they may think that it's unattainable. They pick up a gun and say, you know what, I'm gonna either go to whatever group of people or whatever ideology they may have that's gonna push them in a certain direction. I'm gonna go and just shoot somebody, or I'm gonna just shoot myself. And most times people shoot themselves, right? A lot of the issues that happen, people, before they kill somebody else, they kill themselves. And society hasn't allowed for the people who are like, all right, well, I'm willing to give up my Instagram, I'm willing to give up TikTok, I'm willing to give up alcohol, I'm willing, like, there's no enforcing that. But if you go to the Middle East, where you don't have those things, a lot of their problems are not our problems. They don't have like an issue with school shootings. They have other type of issues, right? But they don't have school shooting issues. They don't have suicide issues. Like, here, they paint it on the media like they're out there blowing themselves up. But like, I mean, who has access to bombs like that?
Right.
Like,
Luis, what's your opinion on like men's mental health in this country?
So with I do believe that this country was attacked by attacking the men first.
Yeah.
Right, because a strong man will create strong families.
Yes.
Okay, and
Say that again.
like, men and women are equal in certain areas at different times. Okay, and the part of the depression of men is because, one, social media, and two, nothing on social media is always the truth. People will put their best image out there versus what's reality.
Right. And
part of it is picture taking, videos. I'm at the bar, or I'm at a club, or I'm at a island somewhere. Yeah. But with men, I do believe that men, if they have their, I guess you could say, career or their money right, they will not be as affected, right? But we've been in the last 20 years, I've seen the attention span in people go like that. They think something they saw on social media 5 days ago was a long time ago. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. And in part of the society here in the States, the downfall is that everybody wants attention, right? And with that, pictures, use TikTok, for example. The TikTok here in the States is completely different than in China.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, like over here, you see people twerking, doing all kinds of stuff, right?
Degenerate things,
like you're advocating for that. And in the way the algorithm, and for me, social media was introduced to society to corrupt.
It's a psyop.
Yeah.
It really is a psyop. So now here's a question: do we hold the owners accountable?
Or the people?
It's similar. I want to say the.
Do you think that the intent, because the intent may have been benevolent, they may have wanted to really better the world and this is actually good for society, but let's really look at how much it really has infiltrated society. And I'll use Facebook as the example. Facebook is not like, now I don't think Facebook is really even like a social media platform. I think Facebook is more of like a marketing agency where you're running your ads through Facebook, and you run it through Facebook, it inadvertently goes into Instagram. Like, you got to go through the channel. Like, it is one big machine. So if Instagram is where people are putting their ads, and it's the platform, it's like It's a centralized thing.
So who do we hold accountable?
The thing is, the way I will respond to that, it's similar to like the Federal Reserve. They created credit, however, Americans have abused it, right? Like it's similar to in the beginning, the Federal Reserve was the credit was between the Federal Reserve and the banks. That's what it was, right?
Creature from Jekyll Island.
There you go. And J.P. Morgan, all those guys.
Read that book, y'all.
And with that, the Federal Reserve was able to perpetrate their perversion to the U.S. consumer via credit cards. So, for example, on social media, let's say Instagram.
I'd like to push back on that, but go ahead.
All right, like on Instagram, right? Whoever created Instagram, I don't know the name of the right, but whoever did,
Mark Zuckerberg.
was it Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I thought they bought.
Well, he bought it. He bought it out and then made it the Instagram that we know today.
Okay. But like, for example, on your Explore page, nobody told you to look at that one picture, right? You went into a certain account, you click like or all that. So everything on your Explore. So it's like social media, like the algorithm.
But how much psychology was, how much studying the human mind was inputted, it was input into Instagram to know that if we put this image in front of you, you're more likely to click on it. See, that's the craziness. It's the controlling. It's the scroll. They found, oh well, if we created the scrolling, people are more likely to. It's not like you can scroll and then click to page 2. It's I can scroll and then scroll
Yeah,
and
that-
I can
going
just
back to what-
infinitely scroll.
Yeah, going back to what he was saying, the land of consumerism.
It's consumerism, yeah. These people are consuming, and as men, you see a beautiful woman, hey, maybe she'll like me. Let me click on her page and let me send her a message. Maybe she'll choose me
Yeah.
out of the 10.
It's funny though, like with men, and I tell this to my girl a lot, right? Like like single men that have a crush on a girl, right? And if that girl likes their picture, she wants me.
Yeah, it's automatic. But girls don't think like that. Girls are just like, oh, another one.
They probably like the color of your shoes for all you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like something in the background.
Literally, you know, and the psychology with all that, it's like with social media, it's like how do you? There is the consequence of consuming, right? Is that it's addicting. A lot of folks, myself included, right? I pull up to the driveway. It takes me 30 minutes to go to the house because I'm scrolling on TikTok. And if you look at my Explorer, all coins.
Yeah, that's
All
you
coins.
look at.
That's all I look at, coins. And every now and then, like a little meme page, you know, will pop up. But because like I
They feed you the dose of the drug you want. That's what it is. They're giving you like I don't go on TikTok as much. I think it's great because of what I see. I'm getting like a ton of information. I love it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
However, I know friends who they open up their TikTok and it's like pornography.
right.
And it's like I stay away from going into rabbit holes because I don't want any of that to infiltrate my consciousness.
Right.
I want to stay on the business side of it. I want to stay on the positive side. I want to see accounts of people working, doing things that I find interesting or whatever. Like, I've learned a lot through TikTok.
So
For me, it's
going back to the China thing. So what do they show over there? Like going back to what you were saying.
Discipline. One thing that here in the States, the thing here in the
and
States,
they turn it off.
and they turn it off. The thing with here in the States, the culture in general, nobody wants to take accountability for their actions, right? In China, just and in the Middle East as well, right? Or just overall, not in the States. There's a level of respect for your elders, whether you disagree with them, whether they left you, whatever, right?
Yeah.
There is also this, for example, in Japan, they're clean, right? They teach kids how to clean wash the dishes, do their clothes, clean their room, stuff like that. But here, the same 7-year-old is watching videos of you know,
The next dance move that's
yeah,
popular.
next dance move. And here's the thing, it's
They're watching gender changes.
yeah, all that. And just to add, earlier you talked about I guess woke, and I went ahead and
The wokies.
I told on my Instagram account, I made a post saying, "Dear cancel culture, aim higher, and I put the IRS.
Yeah, cancel the. Yeah, you have a vendetta against the IRS.
I
Huh?
really do. It's
Title 26. What's going on? Talk to me.
like, man, like the I hate the IRS and the Federal Reserve because they were both created at the same time for the same intent.
Hold on, let me. IRS. You know, this is his own thoughts. You know what I mean? His own views. I love you guys.
And often, I like, and when I was in Texas, right, there was a Federal Reserve building, and I often would go live, and I would, do the bird in front of, and then one time the security guy was walking across the street. He was saying, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, you could go back to the side that you have to be protecting while I'm here at the park.
Right.
Okay.
Do whatever you want
Yeah.
freely. Yeah.
I'm not enticing anybody to come here and destroy it because, one, that's destruction of property. Okay. That too. But it was a power trip. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure the badge scares people. I'm like, dude, I'm literally across the street.
Let me ask you this question. See, I thought the same. In the past I was like, this is horrible, blah blah blah. I've read, I'm studied, and I've gone to the Federal Reserve, and they have a publication everyone should read, Modern Money Mechanics. They explain money. They tell you exactly what a dollar is. Literally, they tell you about inflation. They tell you everything about money. It's a publication called Modern Money Mechanics, printed out by the Chicago Federal Reserve, and they released that information. They didn't want people to really, only a few select got the into the knowledge of how it works or whatnot. But I have grown enough to see the value in the Federal Reserve and what they're doing. With that being said, the system is perfect. The operators of that system and the choices and decisions that they make are like bananas, right? And it all stems from the lack of knowledge. I attribute the lack of knowing how business works, how government works. How does the Federal Reserve make money? How do they print money?
And what's the point of your Social Security?
What's the point of it? Are you asking me? Or
No, like adding to it.
Adding to it, yes. Yeah. What is a Social Security number? What does that mean? Why does it come on bond paper? What does that mean? Why, when I flip it and I read the back of it, it says that it belongs to the Social Security Administration, yet you're sitting around here walking, show me your Social Security, and you sit out and you whip it out like it's yours, but on the back of it, it says it's not. You understand? It's all in your mind. And people have been programmed in such a way where they're completely lost. They have no idea how nothing works. They just wake up and they do their job. They don't understand what the next guy's job is, and they're in the same building. All
they're worried about is passing go and collect the 200.
People need to go research the word wage and find out where the wage came from. Find out what a W-2 form is. Find out what a W-8 ben is. Find out what the word ben in Hebrew means. Find out what the letter W in Hebrew is. Find out, just go do research. Go look at pillars and find out what two pillars are. Go get into the occult. Go do some research that may be a little uncomfortable. And then you can become aware. Know what symbols are. Know what the dollar is. I'll whip out a dollar right now and show you a bunch of Masonic things.
It'll be like, what does the obelisk have to do with the U.S.,
Why is the United States dollar the only bill that has two seals on it?
Yeah, the other ones don't.
Why no other country on the planet have two seals? Most of you people don't even know what a seal is. That's like the crazy part.
And we're not talking about that animal either.
Yeah, we're not talking about the seals like sea lions.
Yeah.
No. Do your research so that you can better yourself. At least have a competent conversation. Have a discussion with people who are involved. Go call the Federal Reserve Bank. You guys could call the bank and ask them questions. They're not going to give you all the answers, but they will do their best because they're public workers. They're on a W-2.
Right.
And it's crazy that if you could tell everybody that you could find at the Federal Reserve website, and you could recite it word per word, and they still won't believe you. And it's crazy that also a lot of folks don't understand that a select few from the Federal Reserve get paid 6% of the amount of every year.
Well, here's what I have to say with regards to that. If they're getting paid, that's on the public side. But what is going on the private side? Meaning, okay, you gave me a wage. And the example that I'll use is the president. The president is the president of a corporation. Only presidents belong in corporations. Title 26 USC 26 USC 7701 subsection A gives you the definition of the word person. Just scroll down, read all the definitions. It tells you what the United States is. The United States is a corporation that has a acting president. Acting meaning they're in office for the moment. That president has a wage. He's getting a salary. So if he's getting a salary and his salary is, I don't know, it's I think $275,000, or let's say $1 million is his salary. What are the other things that he's getting on the private side? What are the benefits that he's receiving? One of the benefits is, hey, you know that you got to call him president for the rest of his life, even when he's not in office. He is still a president. You don't go to Obama and say, "Hi, regular guy Obama." No, you say, "Hey, President Obama." These are things people need to wake up, people.
And also, when it comes to president, right? When I was not even a teen, probably 11 or 12, it dawned on me. I'm thinking, why do they spend millions and millions of dollars for a job that will only pay a 6-figure income? And that's basically, I'm adding to what you're saying. A lot of stuff in the back.
Yeah, the back end.
And and also when you become president, the whole world knows you.
You're a public figure now. You're in the public, and the public has laws. You have to obey the laws of the public. That's why in private, people say Elon Musk is the richest man in the world publicly. You guys don't know the families that have generations
that pay money to be secret.
Generations. Seals like sea lions. No. Do your research so that you can better yourself. At least have a competent conversation. Have a discussion with people who are involved. Go call the Federal Reserve Bank. You guys could call the bank and ask them questions. They're not going to give you all the answers, but they will do their best because they're public workers. They're on a W-2.
Right.
And it's crazy that if you could tell everybody that you could find at the Federal Reserve website, and you could recite it word per word, and they still won't believe you. And it's crazy that also a lot of folks don't understand that a select few from the Federal Reserve get paid 6% of the amount of every year.
Well, here's what I have to say with regards to that. If they're getting paid, that's on the public side. But what is going on the private side? Meaning, okay, you gave me a wage. And the example that I'll use is the president. The president is the president of a corporation. Only presidents belong in corporations. Title 26 USC 26 USC 7701 subsection A gives you the definition of the word person. Just scroll down, read all the definitions. It tells you what the United States is. The United States is a corporation that has a acting president. Acting meaning they're in office for the moment. That president has a wage. He's getting a salary. So if he's getting a salary and his salary is, I don't know, it's I think $275,000, or let's say $1 million is his salary. What are the other things that he's getting on the private side? What are the benefits that he's receiving? One of the benefits is, hey, you know that you got to call him president for the rest of his life, even when he's not in office. He's still a president. You don't go to Obama and say, "Hi, regular guy Obama." No, you say, "Hey, President Obama." These are things people need to, like, wake up, people.
And also, like, when it comes to president, right? When I was not even a teen, probably 11 or 12, it dawned on me. I'm thinking, why do they spend millions and millions of dollars for a job that will only pay a six-figure income? You know, and that's basically, I'm adding to what you're saying.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff in the back.
Yeah, the back end.
Mm-hmm. And you again, and also when you become president, the whole world knows you. You know,
You're a public figure now. You're in the public. And the public has laws. You have to obey the laws of the public. That's why in private, like, people say Elon Musk is the richest man in the world publicly. You guys don't know the families that have generations
that pay money to be secret.
generations of wealth beyond your understanding. You don't know what it is to be in front of true royalty, where if you walk up to some of these royals, and not some, to the true royal people, if you walk up to them, you cannot go and extend your hand out to shake their hand, because that's disrespect. Royalty does not touch people. These are things you only will find out when you're there, when you see these people. I've been there. I've seen these people. I've made my mistake of, hey, how you doing? Oh, no. We don't touch.
I can only imagine trying to take a selfie. Somebody's already pinning you down to the ground.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, they have a whole protection.
It's wealth. True wealth is generational. It's not, you don't work for this lifetime. At that level, you're working for 10 lifetimes. One of a great movie for everyone to watch is Jupiter Ascending. In Jupiter Ascending, that movie is probably the most conscious movie I've ever seen.
Have you seen that, Luis?
I haven't.
You need to watch this movie, because it goes into estate planning, and it also goes into banking, and it shows how this woman wrote herself in the future so that when she reincarnated, she could continue her legacy. She passed down her assets, skipped generations,
Skip generation tax.
and gave it to her heirs, which was her in the future. If people really knew about banking, and I get goosebumps talking about this because, like, I'm obsessed. Like,
Yeah.
Kanos. I've studied so much. Like, I don't even pick up a book. And you can ask him, man. He's with me, like, almost every other day. I haven't even picked up a book about banking in years, because I already know the game. I've truly learned what it is, what the system is, how money works, what money is, like, where do I get the information, what a security is, what is a financial, like, all of it. And it's not what people think. People need to really, like, dig deep into the, like stop playing video games.
Hopefully after this dialogue, people take heed and to what you guys been saying, and actually
It's not a game.
take one step forward to, like, planning your life, which deals with, your estate, your finances, and so on and so forth.
If you have people that are getting murdered, literally people getting murdered for disclosing things that children should know. Things that, I mean, if you don't know, just like, I'm not even going to get into it, but if you don't know some basic things about the government and how it works and reality, and, it's like, it's the idea of, we're going to go to another galaxy, and you're talking about, we're going to get on a ship and we're going to zoom through the universe for 100,000 years at the speed of light to reach a planet, and we've been documenting history on this planet for, let's just say, 6,000 years. And how many wars have we had? Imagine wars on a ship. Imagine people, nuclear war on a ship. You get what I'm saying? It's like, they want you to be so dumb, so ignorant, so brainwashed and distracted and controlled that you don't even ask, what is this number on my license? What does the letter P mean? Let me go look that up. Where does that come from? And you're using this every day. What is a bank? Why is a river? They want you to be so dumb, so ignorant, so brainwashed and distracted and controlled that you don't even ask, what is this number on my license, what does the letter P mean? Let me go look that up. Where does that come from? And you're using this every day. What is a bank? Why is a river bank and a bank? What's the association with a doctor and a dock and a boat and admiralty law? And why all these laws? And why trust
Yeah,
laws?
when we were chopping it up, on the phone, that's what we were talking about.
We don't care about none of these things. We care about watching some 22-year-old showing her whole butthole. Yo, let me say this too. I'm like pissed because I got no sleep last night. Do you realize that you people are attracted to buttholes? Like literally a woman is showing you where she's shitting out of, and this is where we're at, where this is what's like how low are we gonna get that what's attracting us is not even the best part of a woman, it's the butthole. You get what I'm saying? It's like she's showing you the worst, the nastiest, dirtiest part of her, and this is what we're gonna be like. Who taught you this? Where did this like ideology, what, like, yes, you're attracted to the curves of a woman, the way that the light hits and the symmetry of a woman, like that's the biology of it, not the, oh, I got to show my whole butt.
It's when I used to work at the corner shop in Texas, right? I would literally chop it up with the customers, walk-ins. Most of them knew, they wanted to know more about, right? And one of the things after we talked, they were like, man, I just don't know where to start or where to, I don't know. And depending on the customer and the level of confidence I have with them, right, I would say, nobody taught you how to touch a woman, but you found a way.
Right, that's a good.
So there's no reason why, to some extent,
Yeah,
of course.
well, you can't go out there not knowing anything and learn how to play the game.
Yeah.
Know about what's going on. Everyone has access. Listen, I'm gonna say this. Every single man, woman, I don't care what your credit score is, you legally have $250,000 that you can leverage. If you have multiple accounts, every account has FDIC insurance, which is at $250,000 per penny. For a penny, go study and figure out how to make it happen.
Yep.
It's like it's like real frustrating when it's like I got to a point where I was really like, I'm walking around and I see like zombies and I'm just like looking around. I'm like, yo, why do people not like understand? But here's the trick, and this is what I really don't like about things. Not to point that they're trying to make people, and they've succeeded, not come together. There is a system that can be beneficial for everyone involved if people decide to come together. But because people don't want to come together, you're going to remain a poor pauper. You're going to be poor and be a slave. You will be a slave. It's a fact. For the rest of your life, your children's life, if you continue with the separation, there is no games in this. This is reality. You do not come together with people. Every single business, I don't care. Name me one business that you don't have other people that are working in the business to try to make you make money.
And like when I was a teenager, right? I remember somebody saying that I forgot who it was or if it was a movie, a show, or something, right? They were saying that along the lines, once you have extreme knowledge, oftentimes it will feel like a burden.
It is a burden, and the Bible says that.
It's like some days I'm like, extreme knowledge, oftentimes it will feel like a burden.
It is a burden, and the Bible says that.
It's like some days I'm like, because the burden is so big, I just want it off. I'm like, I wish for like 2 minutes I could just not know anything.
Yeah.
Because it's
be innocent.
Yeah.
Like in a sense, because knowledge is power, but with great power comes great responsibility. And sometimes you're not even put in a position where you can exercise the responsibility that you truly want to be able to exercise. Because I'm sure that someone with your knowledge, with your your success, you may want to be able to pass that on to others. And you may be talking to somebody in your own family, sangre, and you're talking to them, telling them what you think, telling them what you know, giving them ideas, giving them ways, salvation. You're the Christ in their life.
And I want to add to that real quick before I forget. There's a saying in Spanish, it's similar, saying, uno no es profeta en la tierra de uno.
Yes.
Everybody in your family will see you, but nothing.
They will not respect you in your own house.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? My brother, we've experienced that.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Because we're talking about the Bible and all this. I see on your post, man, you have milk and honey.
Yeah.
Can you expound on that a little bit?
So like for me on social media, right? I do like to. Well, my company is called Exodus Portfolio. Exodus meaning,
Shout out to
you know.
them.
So like it's all in scripture and the land of milk and honey, right? For me, depending on the context, right? But for me, I like to put some fun into precious metals, and people are for the most part familiar with the land of milk and honey. And whenever I refer to gold, I call it honey, and whenever it's silver, I refer as milk,
Right.
right? So it's and also with the name Exodus, meaning fleeing, right? So you get people with. It's funny at the same time it's not, but with precious metals, you're in a way fleeing the traditional way, but also going the traditional way.
Yeah, that is the traditional way.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's and like and everybody on social media, they see pictures of I have a lot of stacks of gold, silver, but if like I was actually watching a documentary from Mike Maloney and David Morgan, right? And they were Mike Maloney was saying there's 3,000 over 3,000 billionaires on Earth right now that we know of, right? But then David Morgan was quoting Mike Maloney in his newest book, right? Not advertising, by the way, but that he was saying if we were to go back to precious metals, there will only be 5 billionaires.
Really.
So that's kind of crazy.
Let me ask this question. Yeah, that is really crazy. With your knowledge, most times people think that in order to become wealthy or get rich, that they need to amass wealth like from one year to the next, right? However, statistically, people tend to get rich over time. It's like a slow process. It's not something that's like right away. Do you find that a lot of people that are going into, precious metals, people that are buying, that they are consistent investors, or do you or is it that, or from your experience and what you see, do you think, or do you see people just coming in buying like $10,000 and then they leave, or is it the guy that comes in buys one coin today? At the end of the week they may come in and get another one.
So with in precious metals, right? There's different applications depending on the portfolio, but with people that there's people who buy precious metals because they saw like a fear mongering, right? It's a safe asset. I mean, like it's real money. It doesn't matter. A lot of people come in saying, "I heard gold was going to go to 10,000." Okay, and then whenever they do and come in, they tell me that it's a safe asset. I mean, like it's real money. It doesn't matter. A lot of people come in saying, "I heard gold was going to go to 10,000." Okay, and then whenever they do and come in, they tell me that. I tell them this: I'm not saying it won't, but what is that 10,000 going to buy you? With inflation, like what good is $10,000 gold if it's going to buy you the same as $1,800 today, right? So with people come in, they buy. My biggest transaction was $750,000, right? And it was when I was at Texas with Royal, and we set up at the the president of the bank let us use his office for the transaction because it was one of the bank's customers, right? Tubes of gold eagles, a lot of Canadian maple leaves, a lot of bars, right? And for the first time in a really long time, I'm like, I feel like Scrooge, like you just want to dive into all the whole, thing, but I have to be professional, right? It was that inner kid of me that just wanted to play with it.
Yeah, you wanted to grab it and, oh, man, well, look at the weight.
But also, I've seen where people are also, precious metals, if done correctly, can teach you discipline. I've seen people, they just buy 1 ounce of silver every week. Every Friday when their paycheck comes in, they spend like about $20-something.
I'm that guy. Not every week, but yeah.
And it's and often on my account, I do say if this month you were only able to afford 1 ounce of 1 ounce of silver, but you got your bills paid, food on the table, your car is clean, more power to you. Okay? Because, not everybody could afford $25 to put to the side. Okay? They need to eat something with that. And, what I tell my girlfriend is that there's days where I have goals, right? And I don't meet those goals. And I do like to remember that at one time I didn't have 2 cents to rub next to each other. Okay? And then whenever I'm short, I'm like, I'm being kind of a douche, but I have my goals, right? But with, there's also people that come in because they just got $20,000, out of somewhere, and they just want to diversify. I like to recommend people to buy a little bit at a time to get the feel for it. Reason being, more often than not, people come in, they buy, and it drops the next day. So now they have a sour taste in their mouth, right? But when you realize dollar cost averaging, a lot of people do that.
Can you explain that?
Oh yeah, like for example, there's nobody that's not in the system, of course, like just a regular person like me and you. There's no way for us to know with 100% certainty where the price is going to be tomorrow, right? So the best way to do that just to be persistent and do it at every 3 days or every week,
Yeah.
and buy the same, and then it doesn't matter if it goes up or down.
You
It
buy the
won't.
same amount.
And also with like with gold and silver, I like to tell people about the gold silver ratio. All right, a lot of folks are, because it's the dollar, right? They see how much they could afford. Right now, I'm buying more silver than I am gold, because in 2011, what happened was, for 10 plus years, I was buying silver because it's cheap at, $7, $8 an ounce. I was ecstatic, right? I was getting one every week. And then, but throughout 10 years, it added up. And I remember in 2011 when I was, gold and silver went to an all-time high. Well, it went really high compared to 1980, right? And I'm like, I could definitely cash in right now a lot of my silver. But then for 10 years going at coin shops, I heard about the gold silver ratio, and asked the coin shop owner, like, or the staff member, how much gold can I get for my silver? And he gave me the number. I'm like, I'd rather do that than cash in. And it was no receipt, So what I learned, I didn't spend no more than $240 for that silver, but it got me $1,800 in gold.
Oof.
Okay, and that's where the name Bullionaire came from, because that's the first time in my life I feel like, oh my gosh, I did something right.
Yeah.
You actually saw a profit.
Like, and not in dollars, because I do like to remind people that everybody has different reasons to buy precious metals. I don't consider gold and silver a risk, so I don't consider it an investment. It's more of retaining purchasing power over a long period of time. Okay, if the price goes up and down, I want it to go down versus going up. If it goes to $3,000 or $10,000, like a lot of folks want it to, I don't think your gold is gonna be in your mind, because the world will be in chaos.
At that point,
Yeah, like what good is gold?
This is one of the things I wanted to tell you. I wanted to say, it's like you're putting your currency, your energy, essentially, and you're purchasing gold, silver, and the question is, how do you make that gold and silver benefit you? It just being there. Because there are companies who when they diversify, you had said something about, credit and the Federal Reserve creating credit. But if you have a large amount of gold and silver and you collateralize that, it could be working for you while it's still just sitting there.
Oh no, definitely.
A lot of people, they purchase gold and silver and they just have it in a safe somewhere, and they're like, I'm gonna wait for a rainy day, like this is gonna be, I'm gonna make money because it's real money. And when things hit the fan, no one is gonna be like, I don't want your gold and your silver, I want that piece of bread. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's at some point, some people are gonna go right back to their natural state if things hit the fan. No one is going to be worried about gold, silver. Like, no, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to eat. I don't care about you. I'm going to go. I'll see it. I may go ahead and shoot you for it and grab your gold and take it back to my little treasure chest and put it in there. But at the end of the day, like, no one is really, that's like movie stuff.
Because, like, for example, my opinion, right? There's different layers as to how we think it might play out, and this is my view. When STFA hits the fan, okay, people are, like you said, they're going to go back to what they know. They're not going to trust their government, and they will think about eating, and they're going to think about the method of exchange for a brief moment. Okay, after that is going to be who has the firearms and
who has the most.
Exactly.
They're targets. You're a target.
And then, like, that's where in my view, the wealth will be created. I mean, the transfer will be transferred in that one particular moment where people are throwing away the currency or whatever their national currency is, and metals for a brief moment are going to go up in value or whatever. But for me, it's more about the gold silver ratio. Like it's like a pendulum, one to the other. Right now I'm buying silver because like in 2011, the ratio was like roughly 37-1, and I paid like $7 on average for those 37 ounces.
Do you liquidate by any chance? Do you like liquidate and then purchase and then liquidate and then purchase? Like
I do. Well, when I say liquidate, I just trade.
You trade. Yeah.
I trade, and I have my own partners for that. And because like the thing is, people before COVID, right? I got some backlash like with the gold silver ratio, but I told them, the dealers like myself, we make more money on silver than we do gold. Okay, for example, Silver Eagle, the premium the last 2 years is ridiculous. Okay, for the longest it was $2 to $4 over spot price, but with COVID it jumped up to on between $12 to $17 over for
Over
1
spot
ounce.
price, yeah.
And everybody, and well, not everybody, but a lot of people were buying. Okay, versus the gold, like for 1 ounce you make about $35, but right now the gold silver ratio is 80 something and some change to 1. You can make about $5 per ounce, so you're making a few $100 versus just 35.
Right.
So the people were saying nobody's gonna want to trade your silver for gold. I'm like, no, I was there. Like, how are you gonna tell me? Like, if anything, the dealer will give you the gold at discount because a lot more people could afford 1 ounce of silver versus 1 ounce of gold.
Right.
So it's a
game.
It's a game. It really is.
You gotta know when to jump in and know when to get out.
And then like people's whenever they say they want to invest, I kind of had to walk them through, or at least get the definition of what investment is to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because for me, I guess the only investment part is cash flow, right? And that's only in a business.
Yeah.
Okay. And like you said, gold and silver, they just sit. And I like to tell people that if you intend to make a little bit extra on the metal, don't buy with your paycheck. You have to have like a cash cow. Okay, like I like to sometimes on the captions on my pictures, don't spend your children, but spend your grandchildren's time. Okay, like your investments money. And I learned that a few years back, and actually read it again last year. The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh yeah, that's a good book. Have you read that?
I haven't, but
The Richest
I'm
Man in
pick it up.
Babylon. That is
Because one of the good examples the guy didn't, and this is like it's quite an old book.
yeah, it
One of
is,
the first-
it is an old book. Yeah.
But he was saying everybody, different careers, different incomes, all of them equally poor.
Yeah.
And he was saying work, and that's one of the strongest things that I picked from that, is that discipline goes a long way. It really
Yes,
does.
sir.
And the increment.
It's a
Okay.
slow grind.
Yeah.
Slow grow.
Once you realize that you don't need everything that you think you need, for example, you don't need 2 phones, you don't need an iPad, you don't need MacBook, desktop, you don't need none of that, right? Once you realize that you don't have to be consuming, you will realize that you have more
You have more.
than you think.
Right.
And you'll see over time what the book really shows a lot of discipline, and like having discipline will allow you to have a surplus. And then what you do with your surplus has to be disciplined as well. So that way, when your surplus is small, over time it gets big, and then you can feel like you actually, like, your work is paying off for you.
Right.
It's a great book.
It is, because real quick, also the guy was giving an example, like, you see the gold coins in my purse, I could give them to you, but after you give, what good is it if you're gonna have, it's gonna be empty. You need something to come in. And he was giving the example, like, you're not gonna ask somebody in a different profession about what you're trying to do. They don't know nothing.
Right.
Right.
And that's how bad businesses. Oftentimes it's family members and friends that tell you don't do it, doesn't work. They haven't even tried it.
They don't even know about it.
Right.
Exactly.
You
They don't
gotta
even
take
know
risks.
You know.
You gotta take risks.
It's calculated risks. At that point, it's not even risks that really. It's more like, oh well, if I have $100 coming in extra every day, if I take not the whole $100, but if I take $20 of that and I invest, and somebody in your family is telling you, but that $20 you could make it, you could go put it there and do this and buy that, and why don't you just buy this, and over time you can do, you know what I mean? They're telling you something that is like the get rich quick scheme now.
Right.
Where what the book is conveying is, put a little bit here, a little bit there, and over time you'll see your purse grow.
Right.
That's like the thing.
And I never take advice from people I don't want to trade places with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because oftentimes I was raised in I guess you could say the hood,
Mm-hmm.
but also not in the hood. Like I was in that.
In the in between.
Yeah, in the between.
Yeah.
I remember when I was reading books and listening to different music, they would like telling me, "Why are you trying to be like,
A thug.
like, it was the good music and
Oh.
reading and stuff like that." Like they always, I want to say, everybody at one point, I think, had that group of friends that were bad influence, right? They drink every weekend, talk about the good old days every single weekend, right?
That only keeps you stagnant.
Exactly, and it's only a feel good thing, and they can't do anything. But once you try something different, like you're not hanging out with us anymore, they try to make you like the villain.
Yeah.
Okay, because they need somebody to blame, and for me, that was the case. Like I had a close friend at the time. I was trying to teach my precious metals over 10 years ago, right? But then he saw that I was doing a little better, and I actually got the blessing to work for a company that flew me to Europe for free, business class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I would post pictures, and he would say, "You're living my life." I'm like, "How is this your life? Like, I don't see you doing anything different other than complaining 24/7, and you talk about being money, and you don't write the check,
That's
right?"
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. What they got me in heat was like when people say like I'm a boss, I don't see you writing checks.
Yeah, well, how you a boss, baby? You don't employ nobody.
Right.
Yeah, huh? Like, you're not helping no other families. Like, bosses have responsibility.
Yeah.
You have people under you that you have to provide for, really. Like families. Those families have families. And if you mess up, your business messes them up, everything goes, So, yeah.
It really is, because like you think about inventory, you think about the rent, supplies, for them to do their own job.
We can go on forever, bro.
I was telling him, like, I could literally spend all night, and I don't mean that in an exaggerated sense.
Yeah.
It's just that one to the next, like there's not enough hours in the day to go through everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
There's so much to dissect. There's so much, and to our surprise, there's so much that we don't even know.
Most people know very little. It's like I was telling Ka, I think 2 days ago. I told him, I was like, the majority of people have like a 250 word vocabulary. There's thousands of words, and most people just utilize the same 250 words every day of their life. They may know other words, but they don't utilize them. Yeah. So that knowledge is a blessing for most who appreciate it. And most people don't appreciate it, so most people don't receive the blessings that knowledge gives. It seems as though you've been blessed to get knowledge, and you actually took that upon yourself to expand your knowledge and work forward and work towards something that you found an interest in, which is, you own a precious metals company. No one does that. So,
it really is a big blessing.
Yeah.
And not only a big blessing, but it's also something that I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning days of Instagram, when I used to start selling, because I started with Royal in Houston, Texas, selling on Instagram, right? And oftentimes I would say, gold is money, everything else is credit, like JP Morgan, quoted. And actually, funny that picture I kind of just semi put together got over 10,000 likes. I'm over here like, man, that is a monster.
That's great, right?
And but anyways, people would tell me, if you believe in gold and silver, why are you taking currency? I would be like, I will pay my bills with gold and silver, but they don't take it.
Right. And you could actually try to send it, and they won't take it. And you could put dollars in, and they won't take it either.
And then I told them that's why.
Yeah, Luis, our time has ended. Please,
Unfortunately.
yeah, please, we definitely want to have you back, man. This is a great dialogue. Please, just for the audience, where can they find you?
All right, so my Instagram name is 2_ Bullionaire, and then I post memes. I post funny videos. It really is more than just metals, and I like to create my content to where it's engaging and also entertaining and also informative.
Right.
And on my stories, I share family-friendly TikTok videos to where I like to put my little narration on.
Cool. We're gonna put all the information in the bio, so that people can like and subscribe and follow your Instagram and all your social medias. If there's other things you want to plug in, and your business, maybe you can tell people your business so that they can go ahead and support you.
Oh yeah, and definitely my website is www.exodusportfolio.com. I do take a lot of the business inquiries on Instagram via DM or email.
Okay.
And my company Instagram is Exodus Portfolio. It should pop up.
All right, guys.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us today, man. It was an honor. You know, this is the first time that we got a chance to speak with someone who truly knows about gold and silver, man. So it
Yes,
was an
sir.
honor and a pleasure, brother.
Luis, thank
Thank
you.
you
Pleasure.
very much.
I thank you guys for the invite.
And we're gonna have you
Absolutely.
back if you like.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know, if you
definitely.
enjoyed yourself. This is home for you, brother. This is very good.
All right,
So
guys.
thank you guys for joining. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. As you guys know, hit the like, comment, subscribe, follow our Instagram. Everything's gonna be in the link in the bio, and we hope everybody has a great day. Peace.